So is whole life insurance actually a good investment for you? Disclaimer, it's not an investment. So no, it's a bad investment. I know there's some Dave Ramsey fans out there saying like, yes, that's what I want to hear. Okay, but stop. I'm not done yet. It's not a good investment because it's not an investment, but it is a great tax-free supercharged savings account that, if done right, can actually help you grow your wealth faster than just using a simple savings account. So let me explain why as we go into this. All right, so number one, let me just get this off the table. Like I said, it's not an investment, right? First and foremost, it is a tax-free supercharged savings account. Why do I say that? Well, one, it is tax-free. So the great thing about life insurance is that for the last really 100+ years, since they were debating about whether it could be tax-free or not, it has stayed tax-free. And you might be wondering, well, why is it tax-free? Because guess what? Most politicians don't qualify to use a Roth IRA, but they can do life insurance. So who makes all the rules? It's the politicians, right? And the politicians are using this for themselves, aren't they? They want to have those rules work for them. So they keep voting these tax benefits inside life insurance. Much like a Roth IRA, you put in after-tax dollars, it grows tax-free, comes out tax-free. And yes, it does grow and save, but it's not invested in like the stock market, despite people talking about index universal life or variable universal life, like those kind of things. Those do invest in places like the stock market. Whole life does not. Whole life pays very consistent returns, usually a minimum of at least 3% a year is like the minimum guarantee, but what it's actually paying right now is closer to almost 6%, depending on the company. So you're making 6% tax-free, but again, it's more of a savings vehicle because it's not taking all this investment risk, gambling in markets and things like that. So remember this, it's not an investment. Don't let anybody else tell you it is. No matter what stupid YouTube influencer tells you that way, they're either lying or they're just wrong, okay? Number two is, how does this best work? If you are gonna invest with it, even though this is not an investment, how do you best use it? I'll tell you this much, no matter how much money you put into these life insurance plans, and this is not gonna be popular with the insurance agents out there, the insurance salespeople out there, I say this all the time, you will not become financially free just using your life insurance. Sorry, it's just true. I've run the numbers all kinds of ways. You will not make a high enough return to be able to become financially free using this alone. This is why even insurance companies will always just call it supplemental retirement, right? Because it's just not enough, no matter how much you do. Now it can help, it can be great, and it can be used for retirement, but this is what I like to use it for myself personally. First and foremost, I'm an investor, right? I used to be over 20 years ago, I was a financial advisor, and after 4 years of being in that space, I realized, you know what? Nobody is financially free, including the financial advisors. No one is. My clients aren't, because they're still worrying about if they're gonna run out of money. So even if they're retired, they still worry that they're not gonna have enough money in retirement. And then even the financial advisors. There was guys working in my office since the late 1970s, and none of them could retire. Why would anybody else be able to retire? And when I realized that even my own father, who had been the strictest saver in the world, he's the kind of guy that was so cheap and saved so much that I think Dave Ramsey learned from my own dad, right? Like my dad was the guy that probably taught Dave Ramsey everything he knows. And I'm telling you, even when he got into his 60s, he's like, what can I do? And I said, I don't know, if you want to retire today, you better hope you die in 5 years because that's when you're gonna run out of money. So I realized pretty quickly that that wasn't the answer either. Mutual funds weren't gonna do it, and neither does life insurance. It needed something else. Not about how much money you save and squirrel away for someday. It's about how much passive income can you create right now. So what I did is I actually left. I was like, I'm not gonna do it again. I'm just gonna teach ballroom dancing and I'll do mortgages and that's it. I'll be safe there. Well, of course, as time went on, I realized that the people that were financially free were real estate investors and I wanted to know what they knew. And so that's where I started getting into real estate investing. And later that next year, when I was 28 years old, I was able to retire based on the passive income I was collecting from my investments and so forth. And that blew my mind. And I'm here to tell you as well is that, again, life insurance, just like mutual funds, they aren't really gonna get you financially free. And stats have already proven it. Less than 1% of people even feel like they have a hope for retirement, even after stuffing their money away, having over $1 million inside 401k plans and things like that. But with real estate, it's been proven. So things like cash flow can be like real estate investments, good real estate investing in solid deals, using something that pays regular passive income or regular income, even if it's quarterly or at least on an annual basis. If you use that money to use with infinite banking, with the whole life insurance policies, now magic happens. And this is true too. If you're a business owner, if you've got a business, you can also use this money for your business, not only get a tax write-off on the interest that you're paying, but you're also gonna be able to make money in two places at once, just like you could if you're in real estate. So let me give you an example. Say you have $100,000 in cash sitting in this whole life policy. By the way, I don't recommend just dumping cash in one time. it's better to build it over time so that it has less cost coming out so you can make more money off of it. So say you have $100,000 you've saved up. Well, that $100,000, say you want to borrow $50,000 that maybe you use in your business, right? And hopefully that business idea, whether it's a marketing strategy or whatever it might be, you're using that to generate maybe another, we'll say $5,000 a month. Well, if that $50,000 makes you $5,000 a month, instead of just taking the $5,000, putting it back in your checking account or savings account, instead we use it to pay back the line of credit, because in this policy, we're going to borrow from the insurance company. They're going to use your $100,000 as collateral. They'll give you a line of credit, usually about 95%. That means out of $100,000, they might give you about $95,000 you have access to. Well, you borrow that $50,000 from them, your money's still in there compounding, earning tax-free returns, and then you invest that in your business, making $5,000 a month, use that $5,000 a month to then pay back that $50,000 line of credit. Here's what's going to happen. Even if the interest you pay them, because you're paying simple interest and that gets cheaper every month, what happens is that you pay very little interest, but in the meantime, they're still paying you all the interest on that full $100,000. You're earning tax-free dividends on that money while paying very little. You net a gain in profit on the interest you've earned. So you made money here, and at the same time, you made money in your business, which of course can keep kicking off $5,000 or so a month, right? That right there is how you make money faster. Not to mention how you can build your business faster. Because if you knew all of a sudden you can make hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars more a year using this strategy versus using your checking or savings account, that's more cash you can use to reinvest back in your business to generate more money. And that's what I call, not like when people talk about the debt snowball, you ever heard that? This is like what I call an income avalanche, because you keep building that income faster and faster as time goes on. So that's one thing. Oh, and perk, the interest you did pay on that loan for the business purpose is now a write-off. So even though they charge you interest, you still get a write-off on it anyways, and you're making money in interest over here while also making money in your business strategy over there. Real estate investors, not much different. I have a lot of people that are real estate flippers. They buy a property to renovate and then flip it later, or maybe they're wholesalers or whatever it might be. They need cash and they want cash. But at the same time, cash can be expensive, especially if they have to borrow it. What if they use this cash instead to do the real estate project? Even if you're borrowing the money, you don't have to pay back monthly. This is one of the great things about a loan, is that it's a private loan, doesn't show up on your credit, and then two, it's actually a loan that has no minimum monthly payments. You don't have to pay monthly at all. They'll charge you interest, but you're not required to pay monthly payments. So you can pay it back however, whenever you want. The deadline is your death, right? That's one of the cool things. And so if you're somebody that has to take 9 months to renovate and refinish your property, now you can use that money to then get paid all those returns and pay very little in interest, but you don't have to make monthly payments along the way. That's one of the worst things that I know real estate investors hate, is that they have to keep paying monthly payments if they get a line of credit out to do that. You don't have to do that here. They charge you interest, but there's no payments required. You can build hassle-free, stress-free, while you can keep doing what you need to do to make the money on your property, and then turn around and do whatever you want with that money later too. And on top of that, the one thing they love is that, again, if you're in the majority of the states where they have creditor and lawsuit protection, even if somebody tries to sue them, they can't get to this money. They can get to all their other money. You can get to your savings accounts, you can get to a lot of your different investment accounts, but they cannot touch this money in most states in the United States. Sorry, Californians, your state sucks, kind of. So, I shouldn't say your state sucks. Your state's awesome. As a result, though, you have some politicians that aren't so nice to you, right? So that's one of the big problems right there. So here's the big thing I want to leave with you, though, is that it's not just about getting any old life insurance policy. In fact, the traditional whole life insurance policies suck. I would never get them because I don't think they're worth it. The typical ones that you have to put money in for several years before you finally have cash, it's not good. How much better would it be that you put in, say, $10,000 a year and you have at least $15,000, $16,000 versus $0, right? You want to have that cash in your possession right away so you can start using it right away. It's not about the company, right? It's not about that at all. It's really about how the insurance agent designs it. And you gotta have the best designed policy possible to give you the best ROI. That's why we call our strategy Max ROI Infinite Banking. We want the best return on our money that's going in, the best return on that insurance, right? The best return on the cash that's going in versus paying to all the insurance commissions and costs that you're paying for. We don't want to make the agent rich. We want to make you rich. That's the big thing. And so a very well-designed policy is the best way to make sure that your money can grow faster, because now it's not being tied up in costs. It can get out and work for you and harder faster right now. Now, if you want to see how that could work, especially in your situation, go to moneyripples.com. You can actually book a call with one of our specialists to see what's that best design for you in your specific case. Be sure to go do that today.